Yeah, I know. I know.
It's really sad, but God is with us, and we're gonna continue praying for them. For all of them.
I hope you guys continue to speak out. You know, it's inspiring to see.
Yes.
And you know, you can't be quiet. You can't be quiet.
Thank you for sharing your story with us.
No, no problem, no problem. They try to offer me all these deals to get me to, you know, to accept their terms, but you know, I was willing to fight. You know, and you know, we got what we wanted out of this. You know, and now I got to just figure out how we're going to go forward about the abuse that took place, the unnecessary abuse. You know, when you're not fighting them, they have no reason to put their hands on, you know, the way they do here. And you know,
Sir, can you tell your story to the community? Can you tell people what they did to you inside that jail?
well, you know, they basically beat me up. I was having anxiety issues because I was in a custody hearing, and one of the officers, you know, who took me into I went into custody willingly, but one of the officers, when they wanted to put me in the room, I was like, look, my anxiety is crazy. I haven't had my medication, and we're told if we explain to them our medical conditions that you know, the law enforcement will listen. But unfortunately, when I explained to them that I was having, you know, a medical condition because I was in the courtroom with an abusive ex, and you know, my anxiety was all over the place, the first thing they do, they still want to put their hands on you, 4 of them, big guys, and then they tried to say that I assaulted them, but I'm the only one with knots on their head, bruises and bleeding, but they, you know, tried to say that I assaulted them. That assault charge was completely false, and you know, I think today's actions proved it. And you know, now it's just a matter about seeking justice for what they did. You know, we got, you know, only half of the battle won, you know, by getting this false assault charge removed, but you know, it's still a battle ahead, you know, because they can't get away with what they did to me, you know.
What's your first name and last name, sir?
My name is Michael Day.
Okay.
Michael Day.
When did this happen?
About what, 10 months ago? Something rounding about, don't quote me on it, rounding about. But the fact is that they unnecessarily beat me in that place to the point of unconsciousnness, left me in my cell naked and unconscious, you know, and I did nothing, you know, but just have a emotional day in court because, you know, you're dealing with your children and your ex-wife, and it's an emotional situation. But, you know, unfortunately, they only see, and just to top it off, my ex-wife worked in the circuit court and has a close friendship with the circuit court clerk of court. So they had even more, because before she admitted to the abuse, she was claiming that I was the one abused. So they tried to charge me for assaulting her too. But then she admitted later that she was, you know, that I didn't assault her and she was the one who actually assaulted me. But these things came after the fact. And it took a long time for them to acknowledge that. She kept her job for a while until I sent letters to Richmond and a proof of my civil case against her where she admitted to everything that I claimed that she had did to me. She admitted to all those things. So, you know, it's a lot of back and forth with them. But the thing is, when they assaulted me, they didn't have to. I let them know that, you know, I haven't had my medication. My anxiety is a mess. Give me a minute. I went into their custody willingly, but they still felt they needed to rough me up. And that was my story.
Sir, what was the name of the correctional officers that beat you up?
Ah, man, I can't remember his name. It's a long name. It's a complicated name. So I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I'll have to go through my stuff.
When they went in, did they strip you naked at any point?
Yeah, they
during
stripped
the
me
meeting?
naked. They stripped me naked and beat me to the point of unconsciousness. They did.
Did they have you see medical afterwards?
Nope. They kept me in there. First of all, I was supposed to get out the next day, but they kept me in there 4 days, and they were trying to cover up the fact that I was still busted up looking. So they waited until my injuries healed, and because my wife kept calling the jail, which they were trying to say they couldn't help her. She's over here. But she kept calling the jail, and finally she reached out to the public defender who came and got me out of jail because she saw my condition. And she's, you know, I told her everything that happened, and she was like, why are you in here? They wanted to keep me in there because they wanted me to heal up, and then they could let me go and say nothing happened. But it didn't work out because my wife got in touch with the right people, and they came in there, they saw my current condition, and they realized that I was not supposed to be in there, and they got me out. But they tried to mess around with the paperwork and everything just so they could let my injuries heal and everything won't be visible. But thank God I got out in time where I wasn't completely healed. You know, I still had the bruises and everything, so you know, I was able to retain some proof of what they did. But you know, the fact that they tried to keep me in there until I healed up, like, you know, screw around with my paperwork so I couldn't get out. She had to get the defender involved.
Manassas Adult Detention Center.
Did they release? Did they release the videos to you?
Huh?
Did they release the videos?
My attorney eventually. That's how we got the charge of that they tried to get against me dismissed, because my attorney went after the videos. He wanted those videos.
No, sir. How do you feel about Sheriff Glenn Hill? Sheriff Glenn Hill running for election, and this was happening on his watch.
You know, like I said, I wouldn't trust him. You know, I wouldn't trust Prince William County, period. I think that there's a lot of corruption in this place. I've seen it with how they tried to help my wife take my daughter from me just because she has a close friendship with the clerk of court. They used that to take my daughter from me. You know, they do a lot of stuff here. Like, say for instance, there are attorneys in here who do wrong, but because they have connections to certain Commonwealth attorneys, they get their charges dismissed. They get their drunk driving charges dismissed because of who they know. They friends and family of people that work in this place have their charges dismissed. But any one of us get these charges, they stay on our record.
Now,
they stick it to us.
Now, Amy Ashworth is the Commonwealth attorney. How do you feel about her running for office?
I don't really know too much about Amy, to be honest with you, so I can't comment.
Sir, I'm going to let you know. Amy Ashworth, the investigator that talked to my brother after his accident, he falsified my brother's police report at the time we recorded the conversation. We just got confirmation today. Internal Affairs is telling us that Amy Ashworth, the Commonwealth attorney, knew about the falsified report, and she had the audio from day one. My brother has been locked up since April on a falsified police report. Investigator Jones has been there for 20 years, and now it's not my words. Now Internal Affairs is telling us that this Commonwealth attorney, Amy Ashworth, knew about it from day one, but she moved forward, arrested him, and built a case on a falsified police report. This is what they did to my brother. My brother handcuffed behind the same thing they did to you. They handcuffed my brother behind his back, stripped him naked, beat him up, and then they denied him medical. He couldn't walk.
Yeah, they denied me medical too. They denied me medical, but like I said, I think part of that was because they didn't want to get out. Once they realized that, you know, the assault, because I think when I went to the jail, I went in there and they like, oh, this is the guy fighting with the officers. But they don't realize I never assaulted the officer. But they charged me with assault on law enforcement. But I never assaulted anyone, you know, and they put their hands on me. And at this point, 4 men are banging me around, and I wasn't in control over my body. I couldn't do anything. I had no way to assault anyone, but they tried to say I assaulted them. So when I went to the jail was really rough with me, because they like, oh yeah, this guy assaulted one of ours, you know. So they already had the mindset that they were going to be, you know, rough with me when I got there, and that's where I was beaten to the point of unconsciousness. In the jail.
What do you think about the hearing process after an incident, after a beating? They have an internal hearing. It's someone that comes in, walks in with a tape recorder. Were you ever coerced with that tape recorder? That sergeant that walks in, would he ever coerce you, take a confession out of you, make it that it's your fault?
I don't think they. I think they realized early on with me that they didn't have a case, and they started trying to make deals. You know, I think that's what I believe. You know, but the thing is, I do know from firsthand experience that, you know, in Prince William County, they will charge you with things that you're innocent of, and they will put their hands on you when you don't deserve to have hands put on you, you know. And I think it's just like that with minorities in this place, you know. All the officers involved with my beating were all Caucasian. And, you know, and they were talking in the background about, you know, he hit one of our own. They didn't have time to get the report to see the details, so they just assumed by the charge what I'm in there for, and they treated me based on what they thought I did. But like I said, you know, today's actions, you know, proved that, you know, it was a false charge.
My brother, Mustafa ALJAZAIRI, he was beaten up the same way. This person died because of the Robert Reed.
I believe
His sister is here. His family is here. He died because they beat him up the same way they beat you.
I believe it.
This is Jason Castro's mom.